Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Wednesday, March 4th edition of our video devotionals, and we appreciate you being with us today. Hope your Wednesday is going well. It is the middle part of the work week and school week once again. It's a church time for many of us, so be in your places if you possibly can, and you will. All right, we're going to be in actually two places here. We're going to be in Numbers chapter 25, verses 1 through 3. And then we're going to go over to Revelation chapter 2, and I think it's verse number 14. So kind of, if you can remember those spots, I'll mention them again. Otherwise, we want to say thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for the comments, acknowledgments. Of course, being in prayer for our nation, this ongoing war with Iran, between Israel and the United States, just worldwide implications. And of course, in the Bible, there's a lot we can say about it. We're not going to get into that now, but just pray. Obviously, safety for soldiers and the people that's involved, and just the leadership, wisdom, and all of that. So be in prayer if you will. All right, Numbers chapter 25. This is the conclusion of what we talked about yesterday. Now, there's a lot of things we could say about this man by the name of Balaam, but we started yesterday where God said, "Don't go." And Balaam told that first entourage from Balak, "I can't go." God said, "I can't go." And God said, don't you curse God's people. So he leaves, or they leave, and then they come back with another entourage. And here's old Balaam. He says, well, let me go pray about it again, which he shouldn't have done that. He should have said, look, just get on. I told you. God's already told me. Well, he ends up going. And even in the story, as he's on his way, Balaam's donkey is trying to even warn him, and starts talking to him and starts balking underneath him. And Balaam gets mad at his donkey because he won't go, and the angel of the Lord's up there standing with a sword and is going to kill them both. And then, of course, through that process, God says, "Go ahead and go on." It's kind of like Balaam should have right then says, "Man, if I didn't learn my lesson the first time, then I'm going to learn it right now. I'm going back home." God said, "Don't do it." Well, Balaam's heart wasn't right through the whole process. You say, well, what was the effect of that? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Look at Numbers 25. We're going to look at verses 1 through 3. Then we'll run over to Revelation chapter 2. It says, "And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat, and bowed down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel." All right, hold that spot. You say, well, what effect did this one man have upon the nation of Israel? Well, in this case, he caused them, through his influence, caused them to commit this whoredom and the idolatry. You say, really? Well, is that really what the Bible's saying here? Well, to give you a definite yes to that, let's look at the book of Revelation chapter 2, verse 14. Now, the church at Pergamos, we're not even going to begin to try to summarize this church, but notice what it says in verse 14 and the connection with Balaam. Now, realize Balaam was about 1,400 to 1,500 years before the birth of Christ, a long time. And then realize when this was written about this church here in Pergamos, that's about 90 to 100. So we're talking about 1,500 to 1,600 years, a man that lived back when he did, and this situation that occurred in Moses' day. I want you to notice what the Bible says in Revelation 2:14. "To this church in Pergamos, but I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak," that was the king of Moab, "to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication." Well, there you go. You say, well, there was the effect. So here's the practical side, and we'll say this rather quickly. You know, if you hang around the wrong people, the wrong philosophies, the wrong actions, the wrong decisions, they're going to affect you. And that's why we're supposed to be separate from the world. Now, that's a big statement. I get that. But the Bible speaks about that. And here's this one man, Balaam, a prophet, who kept saying, well, I can only tell you what God said to do. And yet in Balaam's heart, he wanted the riches. He wanted the influence of old Balak. He hung around. By the way, Balaam, it would cost him his life. He would be destroyed. And so the point is that here we have this church of Pergamos that's suffering from the doctrine of Balaam, which is what? Stay away from the wrong crowd. You're going to end up bowing down to their gods. You're going to end up mingling yourself with the wrong people, and having marriages that you shouldn't have, and committing acts that you shouldn't do. And, preachers preach against it. The Bible says it, and you can read it just like I do, but we need to practice it. We need to stay with God's people and go to church, and go to a church where the preacher stands up and preaches that the Bible says, love not the world, neither the things of the world. If you love the world, the love of the Father is not in us, not in you. And so that's why we need to have this great love for God and understand there's a group of people on this earth that we're supposed to have close fellowship with, and that's the people of God. Hey, the people of God who are separate, so that we can make sure that we don't mess up ourselves and mess up our children and what they're going to do for God. So that's very, very important. So Balaam, he paid a heavy price. The children of Israel, they paid a heavy price. And let's make sure we do the right thing, okay? Well, we're going to stop right there. Have a great day, safe day, healthy day, Lord willing. We'll be back tomorrow, and thank you for watching.